So in this video, I'm going to talk about scales, basic scales, and the fingerings that we need to play the scales. Scales are really the nuts and bolts of our music. Scales in music are equivalent to letters of the alphabet, so it's the basis for all of our music. It's the basis. That's where everything starts. Everything in our music is from scales. Comes from scales. So what is a scale? Well, a scale is just a series of notes, and depending on which notes you have different kinds of scales. Here's middle C here. We have major scales, middle C, starting here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, this is a major scale. I can get a major scale starting from C by playing all the white notes. So that's a major scale. We also have a minor scale, which sounds like this. That's one kind of minor scale. Major usually sounds happy, generally speaking. Minor sounds sad. But in this semester, we're just going to stick with major scales. Unless you wish to go on to minor scales. If you're familiar with the major scales, then you can certainly go on and do minor scales. But we're going to just stick with major scales. So the fingerings that we use for scales are very important because that's what makes playing the scales easier. So if we look at the hand, we have fingerings by numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Always remember that the thumbs are ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? Actually, if you're playing them at the same time, you'll see that you're going in the opposite directions because our hands, our fingers are opposites. But always remember that the thumbs are 1. So if you see something with C, D, E, F, G, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it would be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. C, D, E, F, G. Right? Those are, thumb is on C, second finger is on D, third finger is on E, and so on. Right? But when we play scales, I'm playing from C to this C. So I'm covering really 8 notes with 5 fingers. So obviously I have to make some kind of adjustments to do that. And the fingering for the C scale is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how you would see it. In other words, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the way I would do that is thumb on C, second finger on D, third finger on E, and then you would have a 1 on the F. So how do I get to the 1? The 1 is the thumb, remember? I simply put my thumb underneath my third finger to get to the F. So there. Okay? And when you do that, just remember to move your hand. Don't try to stretch your thumb over. Just move your hand, you see. So now that gives me more fingers to play with, and by doing this, now I can play the rest of the scale. Right? Thumb on F, second finger on G, third finger on A, fourth finger on B, and the fifth finger on C. Okay, so here it is again. Thumb underneath on F, and now I'm ready to go on. Right? When I come back, it's really backtracking. I'm just backtracking what I'm doing. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then now the 3 is a 3 is next. The third finger comes over. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so here it is again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here's the 3 that comes over. So you notice whether I'm going up or whether I'm going down, the hand really is in the same position, right? When I come down, the third finger comes over. When I go up, the thumb goes under. but really the hand is really like in the same, it's the same position. Thumb underneath going up, third finger coming down. Okay? And so that's the proper way to play a C major scale. Now you can do other fingerings. You could do 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, something like that, or you can do all kinds of fingerings, but this is probably the most efficient fingering. That's why they assign these fingerings for the scales. Those are probably the best way to do them. In the left hand, it's really the opposite. If I start on C here, and by the way, when we do scales, we're going to do scales with two hands at once, but what I would suggest to you first is practice each hand alone. Get familiar with the right hand. At first, you'll have to see what note you're playing and what finger you need to play, but hopefully after a while, you'll get used to it, because you want to develop just a feel where you can just do it without really thinking about anything, There really shouldn't be any thinking involved. It's really all feel. And so you want to learn the right hand and alone, and then the left hand alone. The left hand going up this way is like the same finger as the right hand coming down. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3 over. 3 comes over, 3, 2, 1. Okay, the way the right hand did coming down. And now the left hand, when I go back down, is going to be the same fingers as the right hand going up. So 1, 2, 3, thumb underneath. See, thumb underneath the third finger. Once you get that thumb, you're prepared to play the rest of the notes. F, E, D, C. Okay? So you want to get familiar with playing these scales. Well, this is just a C scale. On future videos, I'll demonstrate the future scales, all of the scales. I'll be demonstrating all of them. But I just want to give you a basic on the fingerings of this. And also, as far as these fingerings go, there are 5 scales that use the same exact fingerings. So the C scale has its fingering, the D scale has the same fingering, E, same, not F, is a little different. G, though, has it, and A has the same finger. So C, D, E, G, and A, all of those scales have the same exact fingering as the C scale. Other scales require different fingers, different fingerings, but again, there are similarities. You have groups of scales that use the same or similar fingerings. So get familiar with each hand alone, right hand alone, left hand alone. So if you feel that you're comfortable with each hand separately, then the idea is to do them together. And that's where the tricky part comes in. Even if you're familiar with both hands separately, you may find that it's still kind of awkward to attempt to do this together. And you may think, there's no way I can do this, but you got to keep trying it, and you'll see that your muscle memory will kick in. You just have to do it slowly, very slowly. Okay, here, thumb on C, 5th finger on C there, and then, right? Usually the 2s and the 4s come together, the 2 in the right hand, 4 in the left hand. 3s usually come together. See the third fingers, they come together, so that's something that can help you. Now, the right hand is going to get ready to put the thumb underneath, right? Left hand continues on. So thumb underneath in the right, second finger in the left, okay? So now the right hand is set. You're okay for the rest of the scale. Here's my thumb in the left, second in the right. Now the left hand has to come over with the 3, but I'm playing, see how I play both 3s together? So that's another point. You're going to be putting 3s together twice, going up and twice coming down. And then I'll finish it out. Okay? And then coming down, left hand thumb underneath. Okay? Thumb, 3s together. So this you're going to try only after you've gotten the right hand comfortable, and after you have the left hand comfortable, then you can try it. Don't try it too soon, because you might get frustrated. You might not think you'll be able to do it, but that's why it's necessary to do that. All right, so in the next coming videos, I will demonstrate other scales, and then I'll also talk about arpeggios as well. An arpeggio is just simply a chord, what we call a chord. It's an outlining of a chord. Basically, I'm playing every other note, like C, E, G, right? And then back up to C again, and then back. So that's all an arpeggio is. Okay, so I'll talk more about those on future videos. Okay, later.